Here's how I make $20,000 a month passive income with my music. Yeah, this is not that video. I wish. Hi, I'm vanilledebray. I'm a songwriter, I'm a composer, and I sometimes get hired to write music for short films and for promotional videos, like showcase videos. I feel like I'm at the beginning of my career still. Like it's just starting to pick up, but it is picking up. And you guys are always asking me, how do you get gigs? How do you get gigs? Where's the gigs? So this is how I get gigs. So I've found scoring gigs two ways so far. First one is through people that I know in real life or through people who know people that I know in real life. There's a big difference between these two. Here's an example. My brother is a photographer and sometimes he gets asked to make videos of very fancy real estate, and then the owner of the villa wants some music and then he just commissions me. You might be thinking, wow, that's super unhelpful because I don't know any filmmakers. My brother is not a photographer. But people that you know in your life that may be completely unrelated to music and video and film may know someone who eventually needs music, and so it's not a dead option even if it seems like it. And I'll talk about ways to get those gigs a bit later on. The second way that I get gigs is through Facebook groups. So a lot of areas have these Facebook groups for video work that post, oh, we need a gaffer, we need a cameraman, but sometimes they ask for a composer or someone to do sound design. So I go through the Canadian Facebook groups for these things and I just check them regularly. I just apply it to everything. This is my real advice. Even if you think that you're not gonna get it and that you're unqualified, you should still just try it and apply. A crazy thing happened to me, which is that I was applying to all these gigs on a Facebook group and I didn't really get any of them, but somebody saw that I was applying to the composer gigs and messaged me on Facebook saying, hey, are you a composer? We're looking for a composer for a thing. So I didn't have to do anything for that gig. They just found me because I was applying to all these gigs. The moral here is if you don't try, if you don't ask, you're not gonna get gigs, right? The first step is that you just have to apply. Nobody's gonna, for the longest time, I was convinced that somebody would just find me. You know, you hear these stories, these artists that were found and that became successful. This does not happen. Or maybe it happens for a very few, and I think a lot of it is nepotism. So you just have to make your own way out there. And that's something that I've taken way too long to learn. Fight for your own gigs all the time, all the time. Make your own luck that way. Another thing is that you really have to tell everybody that you're looking to do scoring work. And it can be scary, especially at the beginning when you haven't done any and you're like, well, who am I to be out there looking for gigs when I've literally never done this? Well, you gotta start somewhere. And this applies a lot to the first way of getting gigs, which is through people that you know. You might be thinking, okay, nobody in my life is in the audiovisual industry. That's okay. You never know. I got a big gig through a girlfriend of a friend of a family member. Both of these people, so my first two connections to her, nothing to do with music. But they knew that I could do this because I have been talking about it and people know this about me. So you gotta make it your identity a little bit, right? You have to let it be known that you know how to do this, you're looking to do more of it, because if you're just going to like a party, meeting 50 new people, and they ask you like what you do, and you tell them about your day job, well, the chances that they're gonna call you up when somebody in their life is needing someone to write music for their project are zero because you have not told them, hey, I'm a person who writes music, and also I do these other things. So a couple years back, I just started introducing myself as a composer. And I felt like a total fraud for it because nobody had ever paid me to write music before. But I was like, yep, I'm a composer, that's what I do. People just believe you, and then it builds your confidence. And then when you start getting gigs, you're already feeling like you're qualified for them. So that's huge. Okay, so there are also things that you need to have before you can get any work. It's one of those jobs where mostly you don't get paid to learn. Like, you have to do it for free because you're passionate forever and ever and ever. You have to build up your skills and you have to make a portfolio. So that's a crucial part of the process. Nobody's gonna hire you without listening to what you've done, right? Actually, this does happen once people are referring you, but at the beginning, if nobody knows you and nobody can vouch for you, you have to vouch for yourself. And so you have to have a portfolio that sounds good and that sounds like you, that you can show people. So my portfolio is changing all the time. I always update it. But a good rule of thumb is to try to have something from every genre that you can do. Often you'll find a listing for a job that's looking for some ominous horror music for my experimental short film. And if you apply to that with very commercial advertisement music or Pirates of the Caribbean action strength, they're not gonna hire you. You've not shown that you're able to do what they want. So you gotta learn how to make music from a lot of different genres. I think some people do specialize in like one thing, but your chances of getting different gigs are higher if you're able to show that you can adapt to the filmmaker's vision. In my portfolio, I have some orchestral romantic music like this. And I have some electronic stuff. I have some more like creepy, ominous sound designy stuff. Okay, more about the portfolio. For music to picture, you should make a demo reel. You gotta prove that you're able to make music that fits to a picture. It's super different than writing music for fun because you have all sorts of constraints in terms of the timings. Things have to line up with the cuts. You have to follow and accentuate the moods, and that is not something that everybody knows how to do as a musician. You have to really be a composer. The best way to practice is to take videos and try to score them. Often I take scenes from existing films. This is called a rescore. Super common exercise for composers. You take a scene from a film, you remove the music, or you take a scene that has dialogue and doesn't have music already, and then you add music to it, like you make your own soundtrack. This is super helpful and it gives people an idea of your ability to write music custom made for images. Or if you're good with the camera, you can make your own short films. You can also sign up to competitions. There's a lot of film scoring competitions and they give you videos and prompts and you have to make something under those constraints. That's a super good way to learn, and you can put that together in a demo reel, like one video, and send that out to filmmakers and producers. Okay, also this is huge. When you apply for something, try to find out what the person who's commissioning the music has done before, or what the work that they need music for is. Sometimes they'll put a bit of the trailer. You gotta go listen to the trailer. What I do, if I have the time, even like 15 minutes, I'll go look at what the video is or what their concept is, and then I'll make something especially for them based on that. This web series that the filmmaker had approached me for on Facebook, I still had to prove myself, right? She just said, "Are you a composer?" She didn't say, "Please compose music for my web series." So she sent me the trailer and they had some temporary music on there, and I just made something that sounded like the temp track, and she totally loved it. The fact that I had gone like above and beyond to say that I was interested because it was a really good trailer. And so I got the gig that way. You have to keep in mind that when you're getting paid to write music for a project, for music for picture is what we're talking about here, the music's not really yours anymore. I mean, it is because you're writing it, and so part of it still comes from your heart, your own musical world. But you're making something custom for somebody, for their story, for the worlds that they've created. So you gotta let go of your ego as a musician, thinking, "Oh no, this is stupid, I think that I should do it this way." You should do it the way that they want because it is a job. Music gigs, when you're paid, are not the same as making something for fun. Ultimately, you don't have the last say. You just gotta find a compromise between your musical integrity and what they want. And often it's fine. Sometimes they want something that you think is a bit cheesy, and you gotta find a way to make it cheesy, but interesting enough that you're not ashamed to put your name on it. I think, unfortunately, it's true that in the arts, it is a lot of small worlds and it's about who you know, and it's hard to get into when you're completely outside of it. It feels kind of impossible because it seems like everybody already knows each other and they're just employing each other forever, which is the truth. It can be a bit discouraging, but you never know who you're gonna meet, who's gonna know someone, who's gonna know someone, who's gonna be able to refer you. As long as you keep telling everybody in your life repeatedly, like not just once, that you're looking for scoring gigs, you're looking to write music, your chances are much higher of getting a gig than if you're just making music in your corner in your bedroom, not telling anybody, hoping that somehow some angel will find your SoundCloud, give you all the work. This is not gonna happen. Oh, and this is a side note, but I know that there are these services online like Fiverr or Upwork where people post gigs. I don't really have any personal experience with that. I went on there, but it felt so disconnected and cold that I have not tried. But if you have tried and it works, do say it in the comments. So at the beginning, it's a lot of working for free, not gonna lie. I've done a lot of productions for no money, and all the work that you put in building your portfolio, you do it for no money. And even now, I still do some gigs without pay if I really believe that the film is going to be good. It's all students and everybody's doing it for free, but the project is good. I still want to be in on that. And I recognize that that's a huge privilege. This is the toughest part of the film scoring industry, sticking it out at the beginning. When you have to work for free, when you have to build your portfolio, when you're getting rejected all the time, all the time, all the time. But all the professional film music composers that I know have said like this is the worst part, the beginning. And if you can tough it out long enough to start to get some income from it and start to see that you have a return on your huge time investment, then it becomes worth it in the end. But obviously not everybody's able to do that, and I think that's totally fine. It's not because you're not getting gigs that you're not a real composer or you're not a real musician. Like I said, most professional composers that I know were doing it for free or not getting any gigs for like years and years and years. I have 8 jobs, it's ridiculous. All part-time, all freelance-ish stuff, and that allows me to keep spending time doing stuff for free for the film scoring because I care about it deeply. But not everybody has this luxury. It doesn't mean you're not a real composer if you don't. There's this idea that if you get a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life. I think that's crap. Work is work. It becomes a job. As soon as you're getting paid and there's deadlines and there's stress and there's expectations, it's not as fun as when you do it with no pressure. But not gonna lie, it's still a job. It's super fun. But I think we've got to let go of this idea. One, that the arts are not a real job. Because they are. I have real jobs. They're fun sometimes, they're not fun sometimes. And music is fun sometimes and not fun sometimes when you're writing it for money also. It's the same thing. Letting go of this idealistic perception is also important. Alright, so those are my tips. Tell everybody you know. That's the most important one. Keep reminding them, yeah, I'm trying to do some more scoring. Second, build your portfolio and apply to everything. If you guys have any experience with this and any advice, do leave it in the comments because I think a lot of people are interested in knowing how this industry works. And honestly, I'm interested in knowing how this industry works because I'm just like getting started here. Thanks for sticking around and I'll see you in another video.